the way that the roster is trended, getting more away from the portal, getting more into the high school developmental process, which is what we want to be long term. And if I have any regrets about our path up to this, I would have started that after the first year instead of after the second year. We decided to go all in after the success for the first year and try to really blow it out in year two, and that was a mistake. But we're on that path now, and you can feel it. And I think, the momentum with the staff and the recruiting and all that, I think, are direct representative of the improvements.
Welcome back, or welcome to Y Option. I'm your host, Yogi Roth, and today we went on the road. Here we are at the University of Southern California, and today's conversation is with the head coach of the Trojans, Lincoln Riley. Cannot wait to talk to Coach Riley about his first few years here at USC. How about his leadership traits and where that even came from? So we'll dive into that and much more. And as always, every one of our conversations are presented by our founding partner, 76, keeping you on the go, 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 so you never miss a beat. Enjoy the conversation today with Lincoln Riley. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Always love coming in here. I always get great memories when I walk on this campus.
Some good vibes here.
I know. Seeing that new facility was different.
Oh, man.
That is...
It's just transformed that area already, and we're not even in it.
It's magical. Okay, so I wanted to start back in the day.
Okay.
I think of the town you grew up in, 5,000 people population in Muleshoe, Texas. There's high schools that have almost 5,000 people that you're recruiting here in LA. When you think back to then, what do you think was embedded in you that you carry with you now at this stage of your life?
A lot. It was definitely a product of the environment that I grew up in. I grew up in an area, in a town where the village kind of raised you. You knew everybody knew you. And I think that sense of community, that sense of we're all in it together, you could really feel that in the hometown that I grew up in. Football was very important. Sports were very important. It was kind of like people see in the movies that when you play a football game, the entire town shuts down and they're either at your home game or they're driving down the highway to whatever, kind of rival team that we're going to play. And it was just kind of a sense that everybody is in it together. You felt that. And so I think as I've gone on in my career, those things have stuck with me, both in how you run a program day to day, and then I think big picture vision about what it really takes to be a champion, what it really takes to be an elite program and have some of these moments that you do need everybody pulling in the same direction. And I think those are things that were instilled in me at a young age.
Okay, I want to talk about your dad for a little bit. I want to make sure I get this right. Cotton farmer?
Yeah, cotton he didn't farm. He did in his younger years. He ran a warehouse that stored and pressed and shipped out cotton.
Okay, all right, so I grew up in Pennsylvania, middle of nowhere, kind of similar vibe, 2,500 people, zip, other than high school football. But I had to bale hay, and I vowed after doing that I'd never do it again in my life because it was absolutely miserable. Yeah. But you learn certain principles. I read that you and your brother would have to do that. You have to bale cotton growing up. What was that experience like? What do you recall about maybe the misery or the potential joy now that you're older and you look back at that?
Yeah, a lot of what you said. I mean, I was kind of forced into working at a young age. I didn't honestly want to do it, but my dad made me, which was absolutely the right decision, and kind of put me in the middle of it, and I was responsible for, my areas. He held me accountable just like, any of the other employees that he had. I had to figure stuff out on my own. I remember one summer we got the wild idea that we had a couple of warehouses, and these warehouses were massive. I mean, 150,000 square feet, massive. And we got the wild idea one summer. We had a bunch that the roofs were old and needed replacing. So we did it on our own. I mean, massive buildings. You're in the middle of the summer in July in the Texas heat. I remember one moment I was just laying up there, just pouring sweat, and we're up here re-roofing this thing. We're 30 or 40 feet up in the air and doing all this. I'm like, man, like I want to do something else. Like it's like if I needed any more motivation to do that's what it was. But I wouldn't take it back now. A lot of great memories from that, a lot of great lessons from that. The value of hard work, the value of doing your part in any organization, no matter what your job is. I mean, I think those are things that I was forced to learn at a young age, but I'm appreciative now that my dad and my parents made the choice to push me to do those things.
Yeah, I get to meet your folks. They were at practice last year. We had one of your games, came out to practice in the middle of the season. Leadership, I know, is a phrase that gets thrown out all the time, but I do think there's core traits that we learn at a young age, and you're leading a huge brand at an awesome university, as you know. What do you think you pull from that, from your dad saying, hey, figure it out, from your dad saying, hey, you go up on the roof, hey, you're doing something that maybe you haven't done before. I mean, you guys are literally building the roof of a new facility right now, not you, of course, but what do you think that led to where you sit now and the philosophy you have leading this program heading into year 4?
Well, I think that no job too big, but no job too small. That there's an element of servant leadership, and that you're willing to get in there with all the other people in the organization and go to work and be hands-on, and that yes, you have to make some big picture decisions and you have to do some things other people in this organization may not have to do, but that you're not above anything. Like, I'm here to help build this and be a part of it just like everybody else that's in this organization. And then I think also not getting overwhelmed by it either, right? There is no job too big. Like that you can do this, you can figure it out, you can work through this. Yes, there's gonna be tough days. Yes, there's gonna be adversity. There's gonna be twists and turns along the climb, and learn to expect that, to embrace that, and understand that's just part of the challenge that you took on. And I've really gotten to where I really appreciate that part of it. I really do, because when you've been a part of some success and felt that, and then you're kind of on your climb back to doing it, albeit again at a different place, like, I don't know, just the appreciation for what you go through, because I think, as time goes on and this thing continues to progress, we're going to look back on those moments when it got tough, or when there was doubt on the outside, or when something didn't go our way, and we're going to say we're going to be even proud of where we're at because we pushed through it. Yeah. And I think that's important.
I think there's something like, you can remember whether you're laid on the roof, I keep imagining that, or working out when you were playing. I think about it now. The most enjoyable times were the hardest ones.
Yes.
Like that's what I'm hearing you say, like, so you can be present in the moment of like, all right, we're digging, you know what, because we know what we're building.
Correct.
Like how else can you describe how you make sure you share the joy that moment can bring? Because you're overseeing 100-some players, 50-plus staffers, to make sure they feel that as well.
Well, I think one, to keep the appreciation of where you're at.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get in the day-to-day of it, and you're just constantly grinding, and you can forget, like, man, we're at USC. We're in Southern California. I mean, we're at this university. We're at this football program. Like, 1 million people in a heartbeat would trade places with us. As a place that we were young, it probably seems so far out that any of us would get this opportunity. Like, we're all here, like, in this moment. So don't forget that. I think I'm inspired by, like, how this community, LA, the university, the administration, just everybody's coming together right now. I mean, you feel, more than any time I've been here, I feel a real sense of, like, people want to come together and see this thing great again. And it's really, I feel like, becoming important to all levels, both inside the walls of SC and outside the walls. And the combination is so powerful. And you feel it. I feel it when we're out recruiting. I feel it when I'm out in the community. I feel it in the walls. I feel it in recruiting. I feel it putting together staff. Like, there's not one part of it where I don't feel it right now. And it's fun to see that, and it reminds you, hey, this is important. It's important to people around here. It's important to this university. It's important to college football. Let's make the most of it, and let's appreciate it along the way.
I can remember being in Heritage Hall. This is it was 20 years ago, and all the young coaches get up on the whiteboard at this time, because this was May, so you wouldn't be on the road, and you'd be like, all right, top 5 jobs if you could ever be the head coach. But it was almost like you can't write SC, because everybody knew they would put coaching, to you what you described in LA as clearly number one. You were in the walls in Texas Tech, and I love going back to like the mentors that coaches have had with a guy who led in a totally unique fashion, right? Like it was his time, right? Literally, he showed up when he wanted to, and Mike Leach is clearly talking about. How do you think you learned from him, but still made sure you developed your own identity as you progressed throughout Texas Tech to East Carolina to Oklahoma to here?
It was a great environment to learn because one, there was so many like great coaches on that staff. Nothing really was off limits in terms of what we might do, whether it was schematically or how we handled something with the team, or it was kind of that environment where you were challenged to think outside the box, and you had a coach that was obviously, crazy smart, but also like crazy enough to try and do anything and didn't really have preconceived notions. So it was a cool environment to be a part of. I mean, there was definitely a lot of like learning, and I think learning to challenge yourselves, to challenge the other coaches, to not just do it some way just because that's how people have done it forever. This is the status quo, but just to really think outside the box and what could be the best, what could give us an advantage. There was a lot of confidence in that program that I think that came out of that, and a mentality that was developed, and Mike obviously did an incredible job leading it. There's obviously a lot of things that we did in that you kind of learn. You say, I would actually never do that myself. but yeah, it was such a unique position to grow up in. And I was lucky, man. He gave me so much responsibility. I mean, I can remember being like when I was like a first year GA, and I'm sitting there with him at whatever time in the morning, and like we're doing the entire bowl schedule. And like, I'm like sitting here like, I don't know, 19 or 20 years old at the time. I'm like doing like bowl schedules, and like, I'm like, what? I mean, I can't believe he's letting me do this. Number one, 'cause I got no idea what I'm doing. But then fast forward later and you become a head coach, and you're like, oh,
Done it before.
it's kind of nice that, I've had some experience doing some of these things or being part of those conversations. So yeah, I mean, I think honestly for those of us that grew up in that environment, it's given us so many advantages because we just grew up in a little bit something different, and we were exposed to a lot, and I think it's helped a lot of us in our careers.
Ready, set, dream cabin nestled in the woods. Just 4 hours to go. New job halfway across the country. Butterflies before a first date. Wherever you go, 76 fuels all the ways you go, go, go.
Speaking of us, he was a couple years ago. I was at my favorite cafe in LA called Zinke. Highly recommend it. French cafe. They always put on the Paris Musketeers, which is now your new favorite team in the European League of Football.
Done.
But I went and had a latte with a dear friend of yours and a good friend of mine. And this is Dave Nichol, who passed away. And I can remember talking to him, and he always made it about, like, how was your life? What's going on in your life?
Yep.
Let's talk about players he's recruited. He just visited so-and-so's high school. He talked a lot about you and the relationship he has, and he just come on to your staff. You think back to the time that you were in those walls at Texas Tech, you built that relationship with him.
Yep.
You guys worked other places together, and then you brought him here. I'm curious now how he still contributes to your day-to-day, because I know how much reverence you hold him.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be here without him. I mean, there's no question. I mean, he was really the one at Tech that gave me my start, both as a player and as a coach. Took me in, to really taught me the offense, taught me what it was like to, at that time, just be a GA and start to learn to become a coach. And he was patient with me, and I was probably a pain in the ass, honestly, to him. And he had unlimited patience and time to help me, and he didn't have to do that. And so, yeah, through that, a great relationship formed, and then we worked together, as you said, a couple different spots. Obviously brought him here. I think when I think about the appreciation of this place and the job we have, there was nobody that appreciated getting the chance to come be at USC or thought more of this place than him. Like, nobody. I mean, this was on such a pedestal to him. And he would always remind me of that. So yeah, I think about him all the time. But I do know, one of the things he told me before he passed was like, make sure that you guys go do what you came here to do, what we all came here to do. So I definitely intend on making that making good on that promise.
Amen, man. Yeah, he loved being in Southern California.
Yes, he did.
I know you do as well. when you coach, the demands on you are unlike any other profession I know, right? In college head coaches, recruiting, the calendar, and that's just part of the deal. Right. Everybody knows that. But you're in Southern California too. Like, have you feel like you've been able to put your feet in the sand, like go to Santa Monica Pier, like ride your bike on the Strand? Like, have you been able to do that over the course of your time here?
I do. I feel like we've, I don't know, we've checked every single thing off the list that we want to do, but I feel like we've really kind of got ourselves immersed in the community and the life away from the job. You know, me, my family, my girls, my wife. You know, we have our areas that we love to go hang out. We have our favorite restaurants. We have all our things that we like to do when we have downtime. And the fun thing about this place, as you can relate to, is like there's always something more. You know, there's always just something new or different that's out there to do. So it's we've tried to push ourselves each year to kind of add some things to our list and do some things that we haven't done before. And I think that's some of the fun in it, is like you have your things you like and what you do, but also it's like, who knows next year at this time, you know, who you'll meet or what you'll have experienced, or new little family traditions that you create, or that's to me one of the most special things about LA.
I can remember the first time I visited here, I was still playing and I was working the USC summer camp, and I stopped at the Manhattan Beach Pier and I called my mom on my little red Nokia phone and I said, how come we didn't grow up here?
Yeah.
Like this place is so amazing. When you finally were able to like recognize, or maybe take a breath, because I was at your first day in that press conference at the Coliseum. When you called your dad, I'm curious, what was the conversation like when you finally were like, I'm not moving, like I'm here in Southern California?
Yeah. I think a lot of it for me was like the first times that our families were able to come out here and really kind of see it, because you know you've got, you know, we're small town people, you know, from the South, and you know, one morning you call your parents and tell them, hey, you know, by the way, I just took the SC job and we're moving to LA. You know, it's kind of like, whoa. And I think when our families got to come out here and really see this for what it is, and kind of see why, both the university, the surrounding area, just all of it, I think I felt that like, okay, like that they get it, you know, and they see, you know, what this is going to mean for our family and what the life is going to be like out here and what us and our girls are going to be able to experience. And like it's like it tied it all together, you know. And now our families are here all the time. You know, they love it. And that's been one of the great joys for us in this.
Amen. Don't blame them. I have a theory on LA and USC. I want to run it by you. So I always feel here at SC in football, there's an internal reality and an external reality. Mm-hmm. External reality could be, you're the greatest player alive, because every recruit usually is. Yep. You should play from jump and you should be 3 and out. Right? Yep. How many times have we seen signing days when they were like, I'm signing for 3 and out, right? We've seen that all the time. Then there's the internal reality. It's hard here. Like, it is not only bright lights in Hollywood. You have to bust your butt to play at a high level. You know that. You've echoed that. I've seen a lot of videos on that. But they can clash. I walk out of the facility, you're sweet, locker room lawyer, you're getting screwed. The reality inside is, hey, you didn't run the right route, the depth isn't proper, you're not ready yet. How do you lead in that regard if you agree that those two things can clash?
Well, I think you have to be consistent in your message with the players. I think that's really important, so that they're not, when they're here, that they're not getting conflicting messages inside. I think that's number one. I think being able to teach these players what to expect on the outside, no different than what we think you should expect on, you know, 3rd and long when we're on defense and the team's on the minus 25-yard line. Like, I think you have to create that expectation so that when a player goes into a new arena outside of our walls, that they know what they're up against, and you prepare them for that. Because you're right, like a lot of guys, I saw that with, honestly, a lot of players when I got here. There was a handful of guys that were really highly regarded and, you know, big names in recruiting and all these expectations. You get in here and you watch them and you're like, man, you can just feel the weight of the world on their shoulders. And the reality is, like you said, what the outside world thinks is the path to becoming this and what it really is two different things. And so I think creating that reality, I think bringing it back as many people as we can from our coaching careers. So there's a lot of the greats here at SC who were able to navigate that successfully and keep their mind on the things you have to do to accomplish that, not just the accomplishment itself. I think just adds validity to that. And then I think the last thing is you know, being able to put together a staff like we have here the last few years of people that have accomplished everything in this game that anybody could ever want to accomplish, and have seen some of the absolute best to ever do it at this level, at the NFL level. And I think when you've got all that experience, it can help kind of guide these guys. I think it helps the path and helps them navigate all that there is on the outside.
How do you navigate the quarterback room? When you talk to these guys, you've been part of so many unique rooms, whether you go back to Tech and you were listening and eavesdropping on that room, part of that room, or Oklahoma when it was Spencer and Caleb, or here, like how do you talk to this position?
Yeah, I love it. I still have a passion for being in that room and coaching those guys. I don't think that'll ever leave. You have to coach that room a little bit differently. And I think I've just enjoyed the different personalities and people throughout the years and trying to find what makes each guy tick and what makes each room go. And the answer's a little different every single year and with every single guy. And I think that's some of the fun in it, is kind of not just, oh, well, if they're in this coverage, you throw it here on this play, but just much deeper into like how they learn, how they process, and trying to get them to the point where they are really confident and play as well as they possibly can. And I enjoy that journey. I do. I enjoy helping putting the rooms together and coaching those guys. And I think you just got to embrace it, and you have to recognize that each room and each player is different, and they need you to adapt to them as much as they got to conform to maybe how you're coaching or all that, and it's got to meet in the middle, and it's just a process I've always loved.
There's a theory that I probably subscribe a large amount to this, of come in as a quarterback, learn, and then when you play, rip it, versus come in and navigate and you're thrown into it. But I know that world from being at Elite 11, guys are like, no, I'm gonna go play now. Sometimes they're not ready. Like, how do you make sure that guys are their most confident when they play, and also make sure that everybody can be happy throughout this process?
Well, like you said, a perfect world, there's rarely a situation where a quarterback going into a new league, new level of ball, offense, all that, there's rarely, to me, a scenario where it wouldn't be best for them to sit, to really learn, take it in, and then be ready to go at some point after that. Now, obviously, it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes they are the best option to help a team win in that moment, and that's what you got to go with, and they're going to learn some on the fly. But I still think the position is so mental, and I still think the majority of really successful guys you're going to see along that path. Doesn't mean it's the same for every single guy, and every situation is different, but to sit there and learn, and then when it's your time to play, to be able to go into somewhere and be really confident. I mean, it's a confidence-driven position. It always will be. That'll never change. And it's hard to go out and be as confident as you can when you're still kind of in the early parts of learning, what you're actually going out there to do. So, yeah, I mean, I think in a perfect world, we've tried to set ours up that way to where guys do have that opportunity. But every now and then it's going to shake out where he's the best guy, and then you got to be willing to go for it and make it work.
Talked a lot last year of how I thought last year was a foundational year for the program, like really solid foundation. Right? You came in and it was kind of things are nuts. You guys have great success. Portal year 2 last year felt like foundational. It feels that way now. It feels like I'm paddling and I see the wave coming. Like, what's it like to live it? Like, am I accurate in that assessment?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great word to describe last year in a lot of ways. I think the way that we played, the improvements we made, especially defensively, the way that the roster has trended, getting more away from the portal, getting more into the high school developmental process, which is what we want to be long term. And if I have any regrets about our path up to this, I would have started that after the first year instead of after the second year. We decided to go all in after the success for the first year and try to really blow it out in year 2, and that was a mistake. But we're on that path now, and you can feel it. And I think, the momentum with the staff and the recruiting and all that, I think, are direct representative of the improvements and the shift in, especially kind of the philosophy from a recruiting standpoint, that and some of the staff changes that we did a year ago. And I think we're feeling just some of the aftershocks of that right now. And it's fun because it's not only do I know it's the right thing in this moment right now for USC, like I'm really convicted in that, but I also know it's the right thing for us long term. Like we have some incredible advantages here, and that's one of them. I mean, some of the absolute best high school football in the country, some of the best coaches, some of the best programs, the academics where you can attract guys, some of the elite guys from other parts of the country as well. It makes sense for us and for this staff. And so it's fun because I feel great about it now, but also feel, I'm really excited about what that means for this program going forward from a more like zoomed out perspective.
Yeah, I could feel it as well. Two more before we cut you loose here. Thank you for the time.
Of course.
Appreciate it. Growth mindset is a term that I know you have used in this facility with this team. I believe in the course of football, whether it was back in the day with Leach or 30 years from now, and again, you're the head coach of the Paris Musketeers if you want to be. Consistency and connectivity, I think, are the two pillars, notwithstanding talent, that must be a part of a team if you want to achieve something unique.
Yep.
How have you created, or how might you define the culture and the consistency within the program, and how you've instilled it?
Well, I think the culture still comes back to the people that you bring in the building. Like, that's people drive culture, and people's decisions and their actions, that's what drives culture. And I think, you look at the coaches that are coming here. We're getting people that are leaving phenomenal jobs, phenomenal situations to come here. You look at, like this recruiting class right now and how that's trended, and a lot of what has driven that is, yes, there's an individual piece to these decisions, but like these guys want to do it together and they want to do it here. So I think finding people that have some of that motivation, that part of their mission in this is to come help this happen with this group of people at this school in this moment. I think that's really important. I think we're continuing to push a team first atmosphere, just because there's so much right now that kind of pulls people away from that, and I think it's teams that can do that. It's a bigger advantage now than it's ever been. So I think having that kind of being connected, connectivity, to use your word, being connected on that before guys even come in the building is going to help once they're all here, because there's that common goal and some of the common reasons why they chose this place to begin with. And so, yeah, I think all that's just bringing it together. And it's, we've talked to this team about how close can the team get? How disciplined of a program can you be? And we have to go differentiate ourselves in those areas. We feel like we have a place that does that, but the people have got to do it as well for it to really take hold.
Yeah, you can feel the inertia which was building. And you add in, it seems like a whole wing in this personnel department, which seems like that is like college athletics now. Yep. Could we have imagined that how many years ago? Probably not, but here we sit. Take us through the dynamics of the facility now. You got coaching staff, you're the CEO, you're also the play caller, you got Chad, you got the personnel side of it. Like, what is it really like for those that are curious from the outside?
Yeah, it's fun day to day. It is. You obviously have more people. We've been able to divide out responsibilities, where I think we've got a lot of people that can really zero in their areas of expertise and what they do on a daily basis. And we have a lot of time of the day where the coaches are coaching the team, and they're doing ball, and they're doing schemes and practice planning and all that. And personnel is working on evals and roster decisions and all of those things. And then some of the best part of the day, typically at the end of the day, is when we all come together. And because even though you have these separate areas that are kind of hunkered down working on whatever their task is and their role is in the organization, you still got to be able to bring all those together, and there's still got to be that shared vision and alignment and communication. And that's probably been the thing I've been most proud of up to this point, has been you bring in all these people, you massively overhaul an entire, a huge part of your program, but how well these people are functioning together so early in kind of this era right now, or this new structure. And so it's been cool to see. And I think our players, the recruits, all that, I think that's been one thing that they've commented on a lot, is this group feels like they've been working together a long time, even though a lot of us really haven't. So I think it's a credit to the people in the building.
I love it. Well, hopefully those people can alleviate some of your time, so we could finally find the Pacific.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time. We got to do it. All right.
Amen.
Thank you for making the time.
Yeah,
man.
buddy. Anytime.
I love the baling of the cotton, baling of hay. I mean, neither one of us ever again
hey, whatever it takes to motivate us,
That's right. That's right. Thanks, man. It's the afterglow, albeit a little abridged. Jim Thornby not here, Yogi Roth here. We just finished our conversation with Lincoln Riley. As always, every one of our conversations is presented by our founding partner, 76, keeping you on the go, 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 so you never miss a beat. So wherever you listened or watched this conversation, much love. We really appreciate it. I enjoyed this conversation with Lincoln Riley. He's somebody I've known since the day he touched down literally here in Los Angeles. I can remember that opening press conference like it was yesterday. Here we are almost 4 years later, getting ready for season 4, and it's a different program. It's a different team, and as we referenced in the conversation, the foundation, I believe, is firmly entrenched, and they are only tracking forward. Kind of like I referenced, it's like a wave. If you're surfing, you kind of see it coming. It's about to begin and then eventually crest. I like their schedule this season. I'm sure I'll be calling some of their games. We'll have more reports as the season comes closer and closer. But overall, conversation with Lincoln Riley. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you're looking for any more content around college football, let's go to yoption.com. We have you covered. We've got draft coverage, spring football coverage, and now a conversation with the head football coach at USC. So thank you all. And as always, much love. Stay steady. Peace.